welcome to teaching learning session of sociology. In today's lecture, we'll discuss about the sociologist in India. In our previous lecture, we discussed about Ghure. In today's lecture, we'll discuss about N.K. Bose, another important Indian sociologist. N.K. Bose, Nirmal Kumar Bose. He was a scholar with varied academic interest. He figures prominently in any discourse on development of anthropology and sociology in India. He contributed a lot in the development of sociology and anthropology in India. He wrote a wide range of subjects like social and cultural history. He wrote on political science, architecture, and human geography. His scientific curiosity in anthropological investigation was always matched by profound concern for human welfare. He was deeply concerned with the welfare of human beings, and his scientific curiosity in anthropological investigation was always matched with his interest of human welfare. Nirmal Kumar Bose was born in Calcutta in 1901. Let us discuss a biographical sketch of Nirmal Kumar Bose. He was born in 1901 in Calcutta. His father was a doctor by profession and mother was a housewife. Nirmal Kumar Bose was very good in sports and academics too. He received his school education from different schools in Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. He completed his Bachelor of Science with honors in geology and Masters of Science in anthropology from the University of Calcutta. He was drawn into national movement at the young age, and this gave a distinctive edge to his scientific and literary work. He was engaged in the national movement and went to jail for nationalist activities during the movement for India's independence. He was involved in independence movement and went to jail during these movements, and this gave a distinctive edge to his scientific and literary work. It was a turning point in his life. The greatest single influence on Bose's life was his association with Gandhiji. During these nationalist movement, he met Gandhiji and he was very influenced with Gandhiji. Bose was interested in Gandhi's ideas on creation of new society in India and began by making a detailed study of his writing. He was influenced with the Gandhi's idea of making new India, a new society in India, and he began this work by making a detailed study of his writings. He was Gandhi's secretary and close companion. Now you can understand how important N.K. Bose was. He was Gandhi's secretary and was a close companion of Gandhi. Bose was impressed about Gandhi's search for truth through experience. In his view, Gandhi was always exemplary field worker, always ready to see and listen. For N.K. Bose, field work is very important. He emphasized N.K. Bose received his school education from different schools in Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. He completed his Bachelor's of Science with honors in geology and Masters of Science in anthropology from Calcutta University. He was drawn into the national movement at a young age, and this gave a distinctive edge to his scientific and literary work. During these nationalist movement, he went to jail for India's independence. And the greatest single influence on the Bo's life was his association with Gandhiji. During these nationalist movement, he met Gandhiji, and Gandhiji influenced him a lot. Bose was interested in Gandhi's idea of creation a new society in India, and he began by making detailed study of his writings. He was Gandhi's secretary and a close companion, so one can analyze how important N.K. Bose is. He helped Gandhiji in making and creation of a new society in India by making a detailed study of his writing. Bose was impressed by Gandhi's search for truth through experience. In his view, Gandhi was the exemplary field worker, always ready to see and listen. And for Bose, field work is very important. And this quality of Gandhi influenced him a lot because always Gandhi was always ready to see and listen and always search the truth through the experience, through the field work, and never drawing conclusion about human situation without first experiencing it. He has written several books on Gandhi, including selection from Gandhi's writing. Bose had a varied career wherein he held high position with great distinctions. He taught in various universities in India and abroad. He was a director of Anthropological Survey of India from 1959 to 1964. He held various important positions, and one of the important position is he was the director of anthropological survey of India from 59 to 64, and from 67 to 70 he held the office of the commissioner of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in government of India. In recognition of his excellent work in anthropology, Bose was awarded Anandale Gold Medal of the Asiatic Society of Bengal in 1948. He was elected as the president of Anthropology and Archaeology section of Indian Congress in 1949. In 1948, he was awarded a gold medal by the Asiatic Society of Bengal, and in 1949 he was elected as the president of Anthropological and Archaeological section of Indian Science Congress. He was elected a fellow of National Institute of Science of India in 1955. He was a devoted social worker and served in various capacities in many philanthropical organizations. He received Padma Shri Award in 1966. Let us discuss about the central ideas of N.K. Bose. Among several of writings N.K. Bose, three Bengali books, Mebino Prakeben, Pari, Prabi- Paribarjarkar Diary, and Hindu Samaje Gaban are considered perhaps the best. He wrote extensively on many of the topics and many of the subjects, but among several writings, these three books are considered the best writings of N.K. Bose. The first two are collection of essays and sketches, and the third is a brief but a very bold and imaginative account of basic feature of Hindu social structure in which the perspectives of ethnography, Indology, and history are combined. In his third book, that is Hindu Samajer Gaban, it is a brief but a very bold and imaginative features. It highlights the features of Hindu social structures in which the perspective of ethnography, Indology, and history are combined. He combined the perspective of history, ethnography, and Indology in his book. A great anthropologist, he tried to present a single framework involving three approaches of ethnographer, Indologist, and social historian. He emphasized on all the aspects, all the three important aspects of anthropology, that is the ethnograph, ideology, and history, social history, methods and approaches to study of society. Boss laid a great emphasis on conducting field work. According to him, field work is very important. So he emphasized on the field work. He believed that every idea should be put to the test of observation and experience. Nothing concern human society should be decided a priori or taken at the face value. One should not consider anything on the face value, but the observation and experience is very important. So he emphasized on the field work. Boss traveled extensively throughout the length and breadth of the country, constantly interacting and sharing experiences. He was of the opinion that in order to understand Hindu civilization, an anthropologist should go beyond the applied aspect. Boss had developed his unique approach of studying social phenomena and cultural attributes in specific situational context. He developed a unique approach of studying social phenomena, and for him to study, to understand the human society, it is very important to conduct field work. One should not go by the face value. He was of the view that there could be no set ways for actual field work. There is no pattern set work for the field work, and the nature and the task at the hand should guide the researcher about what tools of investigation to adopt or even fashion depending on the problem of inquiry. This is very important. According to him, there is no set pattern to conduct the actual field work. It totally depends on the situation, it totally depends on the problem of inquiry, and it depends on the researcher which tool he wants to apply for the investigation, or he or she wants to adopt for the investigation. He consistently emphasized the importance of careful and meticulous observation. Despite of any of the tools one applied to study the problem, it is very important to observe the phenomenon carefully and meticulously. Careful and meticulous observation is very important, and it totally depends on the researcher and problem in hand which tool one would like to apply for the inquiry of that problem. According to Boss, Indian society had an inexhaustible capacity to absorb and transform ideas and experience from every conceivable quarter. He studied the lives of tribal in India and examined the relations between the tribal and non-tribal population in larger social and cultural perspective. He extensively studied various tribes of India, and he compared the relationship between the tribal and non tribal population on the basis of social and cultural perspectives. What is the differences between the social and cultural, what are the differences in their social and cultural lives, or what are the similarities between their social and cultural lives. He compared the cultural and the social lives of tribal and non-tribal people. Bose perceived that the tribal communities of India are not all of the same kind and do not stand in the same relation to the wider society. He observed that there is a difference between the tribal societies. The tribal communities are in India are not all of the same kind. There is a differences among the societies, and because there are the difference among these societies, tribal societies, so they don't stand in the same relation to the wider society. Their relationships varies with the wider society. Boss uses ethnographic data to show the nature of tribal communities of Orissa and Chota Nagpur and their relation with wider community. He studied the tribes of Orissa and Chota Nagpur, and he used the ethnographical data to show the relationship of the tribes of Orissa and Chota Nagpur and their relations with the wider communities. For classifying the tribal communities in India, he uses two related criteria. First is their level of technological development, and second is the degree of their geographical and social isolation. So, on the basis of technological development and the degree of their geographical isolation, Bose classified the tribal communities in India, how developed they are technologically, and how isolated, how socially and geographically isolated from the wider society those tribes are. Civilizational view of Indian society. Next central idea of Bose is civilizational view of Indian society. In his book, The Structure of Hindu Society, Bose gives civilizational view of Indian society. In his book, The Structure of Hindu Society, he tried to portray the civilizational view of Indian society, and he has divided it into three parts. The first part mainly belongs to the domain of ethnography, where he presents material based on his own field work. Field work is mainly done among tribal communities. He studied the various tribes of Orissa and Chota Nagpur, and in the first part of his book, The Hindu Society, he tried to present a material based on his study, on his field work. The second part of this book is predominantly Indological, where he presents an account of the theory and practices of Hindu social life. In the second part, he presented an account and theory and practices of Hindu social life. And the third part deals with the social history. So he included ethnography, Indology, and social history in his studies. In the first part, He applied ethnography, his fieldwork study about the tribes. In the second part of the book, he predominantly, the second part, he presents an account of the theory and practices of Hindu social life on the basis on the basis of Indological studies, and the third part deals with the social history. For him, that ethnography, Indology, and social history, every aspect is very important if anyone wants to study this society. Bose conducted his first independent field research among the Juang tribesmen of Orissa who practiced shifting cultivation. His first research was on the Juang tribe of the Orissa, and this Juang tribe of Orissa practiced shifting cultivation. That is, they shift from one place to another. He was struck by the fact that although Juangs were outside the fold of Hinduism, there were clear indications that Hindu religious ideas are penetrated in their culture. Although this tribe was different from the main society, this was outside the fold of Hinduism, but the boss observed that this Juang tribe follows some of the Hindu religious ideas, and these ideas are penetrated in their culture, although they are outside the fold of Hinduism. So he observed this type of similarity between the tribes and the main society, Hindu society. Juang religious ceremonies have been influenced by those of the neighboring Brahminical people. Even this tribe was influenced by the Brahminical people, and their ceremonies were influenced by these Brahminical people. Yet they have their own language. They perform their marriage and funeral custom all by themselves. They eat beef and are not considered by the Hindus to be one of the Hindu caste. They perform their marriages customs. They perform their customs by themselves. They eat beef and are not considered by the Hindus to be one of the Hindu caste, although their uh, ceremonies have been influenced by the Brahminical people. Although they were different, they were outside the folds of Hinduism, but there was a clear indication of Hindu religious ideas in their culture. Voss shows that the influence of Aryans or a Brahminical civilization has been greater in both extent and depth among Bundas and Aryans than the Zhuangs and or Savaras. According to Voss, this Aryan or Brahminical civilization has a greater influence on the Mundas and Orans than the Zhuangs. It is through influence of this kind of that tribal communities become increasingly articulated with the wider society. The process was described as the Hindu method of tribal absorption. That is, what is the Hindu method of tribal absorption? The tribal communities become increasingly articulated with wider society. And this is known as the Hindu method of tribal absorption. And according to him, it enabled marginal communities to become a part of Hindu society without requiring them to abandon all their particular customs. Through this, the Hindu method of tribal absorption, they become Hindus without abandoning their particular customs. These communities become increasingly articulated with the wider society and without abandoning their particular customs. Hindu castes like Ahir, Lohar, and Midas also join the tribal people in their celebration, and unless one is told who is who, no distinction can be drawn between them. So one can find out the similarities between the tribes and the Hindu castes like Ahir, Lohar, and Midas. No one can distinguish between the tribes and Ahir, Lohar, and Midas, right? Because of their similar customs and the celebrations. On the nature of cultural process of change, he observed that there are occasional fissions within one caste. Absorption of tribal group from outside into pale of Hindu social organization is also observed. The coexistence and the interpenetration of two modes of social organization, Brahminical and tribal, was investigated by Bose. Bose investigated the coexistence and the interpenetration of two modes of social organization, that is, the Brahminical and tribals, because these tribes were influenced by the Brahminical customs, although they have their own customs too. And Bose investigated this coexistence and the interpenetration of two modes of social organizations. As an anthropologist, he was interested not merely in revealing a certain pattern of culture, but also in discovering the theory behind the pattern. He was revealing a certain pattern of the culture, but he was also interested in discovering the theory behind these patterns, why the people follow these patterns, what is the reason behind it. He was interested in that too. He seeks evidences from the domain of Indology to test his ideas about the design of Hindu society. So, to study about the Hindu society, he seeks the evidences from the Indology, from the domain of Indology. He had borrowed a material from the variety of sources such as epics, smritis, Buddhist texts, etc. As an anthropologist, he was interested to find out the culture, the customs, the traditions of the tribes and other organization. But he was also interested to find out the theory behind these culture, and to find out the theory, he seeks the evidences from the Indology to test his ideas. And for this, he borrowed the ideas or the material from the Smritis, from Buddhist texts, from various epics. Bose tries to identify the design of Varna system from reading of epics and smritis. Why this Varna system has been developed? He tried to find out the Varna system from the epics and the smritis. He finds in them the continual attempt to explain the ranks occupied by the particular community according to their origin and function. He studied various epics and smritis, and in various epics and smritis, he found that there is an explanation of this rank system of a particular community according to their origin and function. Why there is a Varna system, it has been explained in our epics and smritis, and this Varna system is based on the origin and the functions. It depends the Varna. It depends on the. It is hereditary, and and the functions has been defined on the basis of one's Varna, and all this has been explained in various epics and the smritis. He also gives a brief idea of king's duties as laid down in the various texts. In our smritis, they have explained each and everything. They have explained the reasons for the varnas. They have explained the duties of the kings and the duties of the praja. The king's rules accommodated the diversity of custom that prevailed among the different communities which together constituted the larger society. It is the responsibility of the king to accommodate the diversity of the customs, because this diversity constitutes a larger society. Underlying the custom was the principle of a particular type of economic organization, which, according to Bose, gave a Hindu society its distinctive character. These customs was the principle of a particular type of economic organizations. These customs form the basis of economic organization, and according to Bose, this gave rise to a Hindu society a distinctive characters. He discusses the village life and focuses on the division of labor, which was fairly elaborate. He studied the village life. He studied about the division of labor in detail. He gives some glimpse of city life too, drawing mainly from the work of Vatsanya, the ancient Indian philosopher. According to Bose, Muslim rule brought some changes in Indian society, but changes like new crafts were introduced by the Muslims, but these were confined mainly to the towns and cities. He studied village economy, division of labor. He studied about the urban society too, and according to him, that the Muslim brought some changes in the urban society, changes like new crafts. But these changes were confined to the towns and the cities. And Bose gives two examples to attempt to challenge the very basis of Hindu social organization, that is Buddhism in ancient period and Bhakti movement of Chaitanya in the Mendeleev period. So according to Bose, these Buddhists and the Bhakti movement of Chaitanya, they attempt to challenge the very basis of Hindu social organization. The Buddhist movement and the Bhakti movement rejected the ascription of status by birth and the hierarchical ranking of caste. In Hindu, there is a hierarchical ranking of a caste, that is, there is a Varna Vyavastha in Hindu system, and there is a ascription of the status by birth. And this bhakti movement and the Buddhism rejected both, that is ascription of status by the birth. If someone is born in Brahmin family, then that person is a Brahmin, and if someone is born in um, Harijan family, then that person is Harijan. That status, that this status they achieved by the birth. The Buddhism and the Bhakti movement rejected this ascription of status by birth and the hierarchical ranking of the caste. They brought a new life into religion, but they failed to make a significant dent on the existing social order. This Buddhism and the Bhakti movement brought a new life into the religion. People followed Buddhism and the Bhakti movement, but they failed to make a significant dent in the social order. There was not much change in the social order. They did not generate any fundamental changes in the organization of production. Still, even now, there is an ascription of status by birth in our society, and there is a hierarchical ranking of caste. Even now, we follow these. So, these Bhakti movement and uh, Buddhism brought a new life to the religion, but there was not much significant impact on the social order, existing social order. They did not generate any fundamental changes in organization of production. In his book, The Structure of Hindu Society, is an exposition of the idea on which Hindu society was constituted. In his book, The Structure of Hindu Society, he tried to explain the basis on which Hindu society was constituted. He explained the principle or the basis of Hindu society. Bose attached a great significance to the economic factor as a source of both stability and change in social life. So, according to Bose, there is a great significance of economic change or economic factors as a source of both stability and change in social life. Economics plays an important role in change of the social life or the stability in the social life. He took special interest in economic organization of tribal people. He believed that the best way of classifying the numerous tribal group in India is not by the language, religion, or race, but by the mode of livelihood. There are n number of tribes in India, and according to Bose, the best way of classifying the tribal groups in India is on the basis of the mode of their livelihood. The economic organization or the economic basis of any society or any tribal people is very important. So, according to him, the best way of classifying the numerous tribal group in India is the mode of livelihood rather than the language or religion or race. How they sustain, how they earn their livelihood. Next, next central idea of N.K. Bose is caste system. With respect to caste system, He draws a distinction between the Varna system and several jatis that operate under specific condition of village or region. He studied village extensively. So he studied about the caste system and he draws a distinction between the Varna system and jatis that operates under the specific conditions of village or a region. The Varna system become increasingly more complex due to the internal process of formation of new jatis as well as by assimilation of external group within its fold. There is a Varna system. There are four Varnas, and according to Bose, this Varna system become more complex due to the um, formation of Jati system within the Varna system and assimilation of external group within its folds. These Jatis assimilate the external groups, and because of the assimilation or because of the formation of jatis, this varna system become more complex. There are four varnas in our system. Bose's interest in the study of caste system in India appeared in his mind when he was working among the untouchables in the slum under Gandhian Reconstruction program. As he was the secretary of the Gandhi and was very much influenced with Gandhi. He worked closely with Gandhi, and his interest in the study of the caste, in study of the caste system, appeared in his mind when he worked with Gandhi ji for the untouchable. And that was the Gandhi was running a program for the reconstruction program for the untouchable. That was the period when he started studying about the caste system. He rejected the myth of divine origin and notion of purity and pollution. There is a notion of purity and pollution. According to the system, few varnas, few people or the few jatis are pure, and few jatis are polluted, or few varnas are polluted. They are untouchable. He rejected this notion of purity and pollution, and he rejected the myth of divine origin. There, according to him, there is no divine origin. He rejected the purity of few castes and pollution. He rejected the purity and the pollution system. In the series of articles, Hindu method of tribal absorption in 1941, castes in India 1951, and some aspects of castes in Bengal 1958. He proposes that the root of persistence of caste system is to be found in economic and cultural security provided by the non-competitive, hereditary, vocation-based productive organization. In his various organization, he proposes that the roots of the persistent caste system is to be found in economic and the cultural security. This economic and cultural security is provided by the non-competitive, hereditary, and vocation-based productive organization. As our Varna system is hereditary, there is no competition, and this is vocational based productive organization. And such systems operated in isolated village communities guided by general norm of inter-ethnic cultural tolerance. And this system, non-competitive, uh, hereditary and vocational based system, is this system operated in isolation in among the village communities, and this system was guided by the inter-ethnic cultural tolerance. He viewed that the recent development indicate the deviation from the non-ascribed traditional system towards a one. In other words, the old structure being used in various combination in new social meaning. There are certain changes and the various and the older structure, according to him, the older structure of the society is being used in the various combination in the social meaning. Besides having interests in change-oriented study of Indian caste system, he also developed interest in study of castes as self-regulating corporate group guiding the social life of their members. According to Bose, caste is a self-regulating corporate groups and they guide the social life of their members. A number of studies on operation of caste association in different region of India were initiated by him. He initiated various studies on operation of caste association in different region of India. In some of these, the role of the kings, temples, mathas, etc. was also brought into focus in regulation of caste norms. He he studied about the role of the kings in the regulation of the caste norms, the role of the uh, king in role of the kings, temple, and mutt plays in regulation of the caste norms. So, a number of operation of caste association in different region was initiated by him. He tried to find out the role of the mathas, the role of the temples, the role of the kings in the caste association or the caste system of India, how they regulate the caste system. He rejected the argument that weakening of the caste system in India was a consequence of spread of Western education. According to him, the Western education played no role in weakening of the caste system in India. He maintained that the Western education would not be able to hit the caste system if it was not accompanied with a large scale of reorganization of economic life of the country. According to him, the economic life, economics plays an important role in um, change in the caste system. It is not the Western education that helped in a weakening of the caste system. According to him, it is the economic life which accompanied the Western organization or the education that that hits the caste system. So let me summarize N.K. Bose for you. N.K. Bose is one of the important Indian sociologist. He was born in 1901. He he went to the various schools in Bihar, Orissa, and Bengal, and He get his honors degree in geology and master in anthropology from University of Calcutta. He was associated with various independence movement. During these movement, he met Gandhiji, and Gandhiji was the only one he was influenced with. Gandhiji influenced N.K. Bose. He was a secretary and was a close companion to Gandhiji. He tried, as an anthropologist, he tried to present a single framework of the three approaches, that is ethnography, Indology, and social history. According to him, ethnography, Indology, and social history, both both three aspects are very important. He emphasized on the field work. According to him, field work is very important. One should not go by the face value, right? The method and approaches to this study, according to him, the method is the important is the field work, and the tools depends on the tools to conduct this study depends on the problem and the situation and on the researcher. The central idea of N.K. Bose, he studied about the civilizational view of Indian study of Indian society. He studied about the tribes, basically the tribes of Orissa and Chota Nagpur. He observed the differences and similarities between the tribe and a larger Hindu community. Then he studied about the caste system in India. According to him, caste system played an important role. According to him, it is not the Western education which dented the caste system. It is the economic organization with Western organization which played an important role in the caste system. In our next lecture, we will discuss about another important Indian sociologist, Radha Kamal Mukherjee. Till then, namaskar.